Hello friends and welcome to LeggLife. In today's video, we are talking about our personalities.
Two of the main personality tests are Myers-Briggs and Enneagram, and so we did both of them to see which type we fall into on both of them.
So if you don't know what these are just tests you can do. We did them online, and basically based on the results of the test, the answers you give, it kind of lumps you in different groups. And the idea is that the group you are in, there would be some characteristics that are unique to that type of person, to people in those groups. Right. So we wanted to see how accurate are those, and was there one, Myers-Briggs or Enneagram, that was actually more accurate for us. So we did these online. We're going to include a link below where you can take a free test of both of these, so maybe you can do this yourself. So Sherri, were these results surprising at all?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either, but there were some pretty interesting things that we found. So first, we want to give you what our results are.
We're going to start with Myers-Briggs.
So with Myers-Briggs, there's a series of questions you answer, and then there are 16 potential outcomes for you. And you are basically left at the end with 4 letters that specify the personality group that you belong to.
Each letter is in a different category. So the first letter is based on how you get your energy. The second letter is based on where you get your information. The third letter is based on your decisions. And the fourth letter is based on your organization.
So for Myers-Briggs, I am an ESFP. So that means that I am an extrovert, sensing, feeling, perceiving. And we'll dive a little bit more into that in a minute. Sherri, this is a unique thing about Sherri on both Enneagram and Myers-Briggs, is that both tests came back with you could be this or this. You kind of fall into two different categories.
On both of them.
On both of them. So for Myers-Briggs, you are either an INTJ or an INFJ.
Yep.
As we read the kind of descriptions of those, we felt like you probably were more an INFJ.
Yep. So as like the full personality description, I tend to fall more in the INFJ, but based on what T and F actually mean, I fluctuate between the two.
So for me, a little bit about what this means by the answers I gave. Myers-Briggs, again, I'm an ESFP. So it would say that I am, and Sherri, I'm going to read this description and tell me if you think if this is true about me. Where's the party? ESFPs love people, excitement, telling stories, and having fun. The spontaneous, impulsive nature of this type is almost always entertaining. ESFPs love to entertain on stage, at work, or at home. Social gatherings are an energy boost to these people. We're attracted to new ideas, new fashions, new gadgets, new anything. We love to talk to people about people. Basically, every ESFP loves to talk. Sherri, what do you think?
I feel like if you looked up Adam Legg in the dictionary, it would say that.
For sure, yes. So we felt like for me, Myers-Briggs was definitely a part of this. Now here's what's really interesting. I'm not going to give too much of it away. That is definitely a part of me. But it's interesting because there actually is kind of another really important part of me that I would say that this doesn't capture.
A deeper side of you.
A deeper side of me that this doesn't capture. But it is the side that is captured on my Enneagram. So we'll go into that a little bit more later. Sherri, again, being an INFJ. All right, here's what Sherri is said about her. Distinguished by both their complexity of character and the unusual range and depth of their talent. Strongly humanitarian in outlook. I really love this example. This to me is when I read this, I was like, this is totally Sherri. Number one, you're a systems builder, right? Detail oriented. But then this is amazing. It says INFJs are champions of the oppressed and downtrodden. They often are found in the wake of an emergency, rescuing those who are in acute distress. INFJs may fantasize about getting revenge on those who victimize the defenseless.
That's true, I do that.
It's totally you. I mean, you are totally a champion of the oppressed and downtrodden.
Oppressors just make me angry.
Yeah, and so, so I read this, and what do you think? Does this describe you?
It does, but I think, like you said, with the Enneagram description, I feel like it's like two sides of the same coin. Like it's missing a side.
Yeah, that's right.
So the other side of it.
So it feels like Myers-Briggs is one side of that coin. So I think that we would both agree that these descriptions of our Myers-Briggs results are consistent with who we are, right?
so, yeah.
For sure. So Enneagram is a little bit different. Again, link down below to a test you can take on that. In Enneagram, there are basically 9 results. You get grouped with a type. So when we did our Enneagram test, I came back as a type 2, which is the helper. I just want to read this to you. Tell me. 2s are empathetic, sincere, and warm-hearted, friendly, generous, and self-sacrificing, but can also be sentimental, flattering, and people-pleasing. They're well-meaning and driven to be close to others, but can slip into doing things for others in order to be needed. Typically have problems with possessiveness and with acknowledging their own needs. At their best, they're unselfish and altruistic. They have unconditional love for others. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
That, to me, is the other part of my personality that I felt like was missing, because I am totally like loud and I love to talk and I love, you know what I mean, like the life of the party. Like I just love that for sure.
But then there's also like that whole like empathetic, like you deeply care for people.
Very much so. And so I actually felt like doing both of these gave us a good example of really what I feel. And one thing I really love about Enneagram is I thought these are cool. They tell you like a basic fear of people and a basic desire. So for me, it would say basic fear of being unwanted or unworthy of being loved. And then the basic desires to feel loved. And I actually would agree with those, that both the fear and the desire for me. So
You're wanted and loved.
Thank you. You're so cute. I had actually never done Enneagram before. I've done Myers-Briggs a lot of times, but I've never done this, so it's super interesting. And Sherri, again, as always,
I don't fall into a category because I don't know what's wrong with me, but so on Enneagram, I actually fell into 2, and it literally said, we don't know where to place you, but you're probably one of these types.
So the types that it says for Sherri was the individualist or the loyalist.
So type 4 or type 6?
So type 4 or type 6. So I'm going to read kind of these, and let's see where we think Sherri falls. So type 4 says 4s are self-aware, sensitive, and reserved. They're emotionally honest, creative, and personal, but can also be moody and self-conscious, withholding themselves from others due to feeling vulnerable and defective. They can also feel disdain and exempt from ordinary ways of living. They typically have problems with melancholy, self-indulgence, and self-pity. At their best, they're inspired and highly creative, able to renew themselves and transform their experiences. Basic fear, they have no identity or personal significance, and the basic desire is to find themselves and their significance, to create an identity. What do you think?
I think that's fairly accurate.
I think that's actually fairly accurate about you as well. So 6, the other option for her is the loyalist, because you just fit everywhere.
Or nowhere.
Or no, everywhere. Oh, see, that's you're such a type 4, such a type 4. So type that's hilarious. So type 6 says the committed, security-oriented type. 6s are reliable, hardworking, responsible, and trustworthy. Excellent troubleshooters, they foresee problems and foster cooperation, but can also become defensive, evasive, and anxious, running on stress while complaining about it. They can be cautious and indecisive, but also reactive, defiant, and rebellious. They typically have problems with self-doubt and suspicion. At their best, they're internally stable and self-reliant, courageously championing themselves and others. Basic fear is of being without support and guidance, and the desires to have security and support. So what do you think?
I feel like they both describe me.
I think so too. I would say if I had to pick, I think you're a little more of a 4 than a 6, but there's totally things in there that I see of you. So Sherri, Myers-Briggs, Enneagram, what are your thoughts? What do you think about this?
I think they both have their place. I think that one versus the other isn't really a fair comparison because they are fairly different. They both give a unique perspective, and both are right.
Yeah.
Neither one is wrong. I think they're different sides of a coin.
Yeah, that was the most interesting thing to me, is that I felt like I don't know why, but I thought that my Myers-Briggs results would basically return the exact same results for Enneagram and for all the other ones.
And they're similar.
They're similar, but they're pretty different as well. So for me, I like this. Here's the thing here's what I like about these kind of tests. Not only these, but things like, even like the 5 love languages, right? In marriage or in any relationship, I think that the more you can understand the uniqueness of the person that you're talking with or interacting with, it helps you understand them better, right?
And be able to relate to them better.
Yeah, it's like for me, I know that I am a talker extrovert, right? Like, but what that also means is that there are times that Sherri can feel talked over, right? As an introvert, where there's times that like your voice, like I have to be intentional about making sure that you know that your voice is heard.
Right. And relating to our marriage specifically, I feel like, we have very different personalities, and they could be very, you know, competing, but I feel like they actually are complementary, because my weaknesses are his strengths and vice versa. And so we, you know, instead of just constantly competing with, or, you know, against each other, we kind of both bring different strengths to the table, and it makes us stronger, I think.
Yeah, it's actually been really nice, like, I think, being married to somebody so different, just because, like, there are times that I'm just like, man, I don't know how to do this. Like, it's kind of really frustrating to me. And Sherri steps in and she's like, I'm actually really good at that. Like, and that's like life-giving to me. Let me help you with that.
And vice versa. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's the thing, is that, one, that's why it's important to understand, like, the other person, because then you know not only how to interact with them, but like how your strengths can step into their weaknesses. But then also you understand, like, I understand my weaknesses, and there's stuff that honestly I just know it's like, I'm gonna need Sherri's help with that, right? Because she's like really good at this. So I thought this was fun. I love this kind of stuff. I know that there's a million of these out there, these personality test kind of things. Have you guys done these? Like, tell me, have you done these? What do you think about these? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to know. Tell us your Myers-Briggs, what are you? Your Enneagram, what are you? So we know how to interact with all of you. This was a lot of fun. It was fun to sit down and go through these. So again, leave us comments below. What are you guys? And we love you, and we will see you with the next LeggLife video.